let's get into this article. I have issues with it, but I will cite those as we read through. Let's go. The fanfare around the band Geese was actually was a psyop, stated very authoritatively and as if it's been proven. The Brooklyn band Geese was labeled an industry plant by those who questioned its sudden ubiquity. Maybe it was. All right, Brooklyn indie rockers Geese, who shot to the heights of rock and roll fame at the end of 2025. Their fourth album, Getting Killed, was released in late September and dominated the year's top 10 lists. Their fall tour sold out almost everywhere. The collective buzz earned them slots on SNL and at Coachella and made the band and frontman Cameron Winter, who has his own solo career, something close to a household name, at least in households where polyrhythmic art rock is a topic of conversation. Okay. The Guardian's review of the record called Geese the new saviors of rock and roll. Their explosion onto the scene, seemingly out of nowhere, led to an inevitable backlash. Haters called them a psyop. Some questioned their sudden seeming rise to superstardom, calling them an industry plant. Others, while acknowledging their talent, attributed their fame to savvy marketing. Certainly, when a band blows up so quickly, it can seem inorganic and a bit weird. When a band moves from the edges of the conversation to smack in the center, can raise suspicions that its darling status was attributable to some sort of backroom machinations rather than a rare combination of talent, hard work, and a bit of good luck. Now, those paranoid seeming suspicions have been proven true, sort of. I mean, I feel like that's not really a line you want to write in your definitive Geese was a psyop headline article. Like, okay, it's been proven sort of. In late March, the co-founders of the digital marketing company Chaotic Good Products, who provide, per its Instagram, digital experiments and musical mayhem, appeared on billboards on the Record podcast. In the episode recorded at South by Southwest, Chaotic Good's Andrew Spellman and Jesse Corrin explained how their viral marketing methods work. Essentially, the firm creates networks of social media pages, typically on TikTok, and uses them to drive the band's music into the recommendation algorithm. Songs are dropped into the backgrounds of videos, live clips are shared, sometimes burner accounts, comments, and whole ecosystems of interactions can be fabricated out of digital cloth stroking and in some cases completely manufacturing discourse around an artist. These ginned up interactions push the songs and the discussion about them higher up a platform's algorithmic rankings, and social media platforms like TikTok and YouTube are increasingly where real fans discover new music. I think I'm going to pause there because a lot of people are freaking out at this paragraph, and I think what I'm taking issue with here with this article is that this behavior and this marketing strategy is being kind of singled out in the case of Geese as being like something they singularly did and like a very bad, horrible, horrific thing, when in fact, number one, lots of artists and lots of labels are doing this and engaging in this practice right now. And number two, I would argue with how algorithms currently work on platforms like TikTok, where it's mostly just For You page, endless scrolling that you're just being handed random shit day in and day out. This is the position that I feel like these platforms have put artists, have put labels, have put promotions into in order to get the artists that they're trying to get out into the world out into the world. Artists come on to social media all the time and complain that like my label wants me on TikTok and wants me to make 1 million TikToks where I'm dancing and talking about my breakfast and posting the song snippets and da-da-da-da-da. Not because they think every piece of content that comes out of that is going to be genius, but the more you post a clip, the more you post a song, the more boost you're giving it in the algorithm because the song is getting more usage. Like, look at it as, I don't know, in this case, like a band that in the local area just sort of like flyers the whole downtown area and they're just spamming every single street lamp with like their posters and, you know, the live date to be at this venue and this time and so on and so forth, because doing just one little flyer in the middle of the whole downtown area isn't going to get anybody's attention anywhere. You're just basically mass flyering a single area in order to boost your song or boost your notoriety in the algorithm. And that's, again, basically like the position these people are being put in at this point. And again, it's not even just Geese that's doing this. A lot of artists are doing this. In a social media platform world that made sense, fans who are fans of a certain artist would follow them, follow their label, follow bands connected to them. And the moment that a new artist comes out that is actually of the interest or sort of like, shares real creative overlap with other artists that are popular and are relevant, and fans would actually be actually like help to hear that new artist music, they would easily be delivered that music through the pipelines where people are sort of like posting this stuff on their channels that people are already subscribed to. And look, a lot of social media used to work that way back in the day when YouTube was first getting started, when Twitter was getting started, when social media was less saturated. People actually saw the things they subscribed to on their feeds instead of just like this random array of things that are being decided that you're going to like by the algorithm based on like what you've watched all the way through or what you liked. Nowadays, people are just being handed random shit that the algorithm says will be engaging. Not good, not bad, not entertaining, but engaging. Will make you comment, will make you watch the whole thing all the way through. That's how it's being decided now. So as a result of that, artists and people who are really trying to blow up on social media in any way have to sort of like repeatedly force themselves into the conversation by over posting and over saturating these channels in order to get people exposed to what they do. And how else do you do that other than getting a bunch of accounts together to post your shit over and over and over and over and over? Now, I've heard some people sort of like refer to this practice as like a hacking of the algorithm, and you're gaming the system and you're doing an unfair thing that like isn't allowed or shouldn't be allowed or is against like, I don't know, the sanctity of how TikTok works or something like that. But would you be surprised if I were to tell you that what's going on here is not just not against the sanctity of TikTok, but actively incentivized by TikTok, depending on how much money you're willing to pay? Let me show you an example. Because when I go on my TikTok, and I know this is the case for a lot of people who log on to their TikToks, if I go into my messages, I will, be hit by the messages, by the notifications, so on and so forth. This is just like what the messages looks like over here. This is my messages situation, just the top bit of it. And if you go to system notifications down here, and again, other TikTok people have this on their account when they go in their messages, you'll see notifications like this. Monetization. Join before slots fill up. Now, there's a lot of creatives on TikTok who might have large followings, small followings, and might be sort of struggling and thinking like, man, I'd like to make some money on TikTok. How am I supposed to make money on TikTok? How do you make money on TikTok? Is it getting a lot of views? Is it doing this? Is it doing that? What's the best way to make money on TikTok? Let me show you one of the better ways to make some quick money on TikTok if you happen to be good at this kind of thing. Moving this to the side. Here we go. So if you click onto that monetization option, you'll be hit with a bunch of notifications in this section that look just like this. Join before slots fill up. Create a post with the song complete to compete for up to 600 pounds or 600 euros. Sometimes it's in euros, sometimes it's in dollars. Compete, use this song in a video, 600 pounds, so on and so forth. You'll get lots of notifications like this. And if you actually click on any of these, you'll start seeing shit like this. Voila, random ass song. Hey, if you make a video with this song and you lip sync with it, you do a certain dance with it, you do whatever instruction we tell you to do on this platform, we'll pay you 600 euros. And there are dozens and dozens and dozens of notifications that I see in my phone for this very thing, month in and month out, because as it turns out, lots of people are trying to use this way of boosting your music in the algorithm to get attention on their music and attention on their songs. It is not a new thing. It is a thing, again, not only that a lot of artists are doing. Here's $400. You can get rewarded for this song, using this song. If the video that you make happens to get a certain amount of traffic or is in like the top 3, top whatever, you'll get this amount of money for doing that. Again, not only is this a regular practice in the industry right now and has been for years, but TikTok actively incentivizes it. TikTok is, in concept, actually pretty cool with the idea of people, various accounts, doing all sorts of shit to post just random content onto the platform to get money, get attention, to boost algorithm, to get more people engaged. This is not altogether a new thing. This is something that has become an industry standard practice in a lot of ways, unfortunately. In the age of TikTok, is it a thing that I'm a fan of or that I love or that I think is a great or the best look? No, but it is a thing that currently exists. And I don't know, I'm not going to shit my pants over it or act like Geese are uniquely evil or something here for engaging in something that so many artists and so many labels are engaging in right now. This person says, we can drive impressions on anything at this point, Spellman told Billboard. We know how to go viral. We have thousands of pages. Spellman has dubbed the process trend simulation, and the campaigns themselves are referred to by Chaotic Good as narrative, or UGC for user-generated content campaigns. Now Chaotic Good co-founder Adam Teresa confirms to Wired that his company engineered campaigns for both Geese and Cameron Winter. We helped distribute clips of them performing and doing some interviews on TikTok. Teresa says that via email, speaking on behalf of Chaotic Good, I understand that industry plant discourse is inevitable, but we have had the pleasure of being Geese fans since their 2021 project, Projector, which he notes was released 4 full years before his agency launched. The long bubbling suspicions about the band's rise boiled over the first week of April. A viral Substack post by singer-songwriter Eliza McLam traced the connection between Geese and Chaotic Good and mulled the fuzzy ethics of such marketing. As McLam summed up the model, if 100 people think your song sucks, Chaotic Good will create 200 people who think your song is awesome. Now, let's pause there and say that McLam has actually come onto the internet and commented on this piece. And while she feels like on Twitter, she said this, she was quoted faithfully to what she said, in relation to all of this in her Substack post. She personally does not think Geese is a psyop and thinks this piece is sort of like really doing an ultra negative spin on stuff that she pulled up in her Substack post, and even reached out to the writer of this post over DM and voiced a lot of sort of disagreements with the framing of the information from that post in this article. But, with that comment being said, if it is in fact true that Chaotic Good can just create 200 people out of thin air, they're going to say, whoa, this band rocks, when there's so many people saying Geese sucks, why is there so much relentless Geese sucks discourse on the internet? It's nonstop. I mean, I think the Geese rules discourse, or the Geese discourse has been sort of like swaying in a negative direction for quite a while now. Like, where was all of the positive Geese loving bots when, Geese played SNL and there were countless SNL heads talking about how much the band fucking sucked? Where are all of these bots now talking about how authentic Geese are in the wake of this article? Because honestly, a lot of the reactions I've been seeing in the wake of this have just been like, yeah, I knew they were fake the whole time. I fucking hate them. So I don't know if they're doing too great of a job with the fabricating of positive comments for Geese, to be honest. I wasn't expecting the piece to be as widely shared as it was, and I was happy to see a conversation get started around the whole thing. McLam, who is currently on tour supporting her 2025 album, says of her post titled Fake Fans, I've been wary of people referring to it in any way as a hit piece or even particularly investigative. I just listened to an interview and poked around a website. The most compelling part to me in many ways was how plainly all of these tactics were discussed, even as the tactics themselves succeed when operating somewhat out of view. The situation got a little sketchier when, shortly after McLam's post started spreading in music business circles, Chaotic Good wiped mentions of specific artists, including Geese and Cameron Winter, from its website. This, too, the company freely admits. The team also removed reference to narrative campaigns. We took things down from the site, and so our artist partners don't get wrapped up in false accusations or misconceptions about how their music was discovered, Teresa says. Most of the discourse around narrative campaigns we were seeing online was not accurate on to how they actually function. In practice, narrative campaigns mostly consist of consulting on digital PR strategy. Now, that's an interesting quote. It could seem damning if you're completely on the outside of the music industry and PR and so on and so forth. But I feel like we're sort of like caught between two different competing narratives here. And again, I know a lot of you watching have not like worked at any point in music PR, the music industry, or any kind of PR for, any sort of like media figures, entertainment, social media, so on and so forth. But these PR people who run these PR campaigns, they're sort of like trying to help themselves, but they're also shooting themselves in the foot at the same time. Because of course, when you get a PR company like this onto a Billboard podcast, which is going to be, just an industry thing for the most part, that only industry people listen to and only other PR people are listening to, and only other artists who are hoping to break it into the industry are going to listen to. This is not the kind of podcast that usually like normie music fans who are conspiracy brained in some cases are going to be hearing. Like a lot of the people that pull up to these types of podcasts are going to be industry connected or wanting to be industry connected in some way. And people who work for PR companies, knowing they're going on those podcasts, know that that's going to be the audience. So of course they're going to come on that podcast and be like, yeah, man, we're the best PR company in the world. We can make anyone popular. We just post all your stuff all over the internet and you look so dope and sweet and cool and you're going to get way algorithmic just because of us. Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get people on their roster to pay them money to just post random shit about these bands on the internet. Like if this band really had, or not band, but PR firm really had the ability to make any band just popular out of fucking thin air with like no talent, no nothing whatsoever, why is every other artist on their roster not getting as much buzz online as Geese? Why is Partisan Records, Geese's label, not paying this company to do the Geese special on Lip Critic right now, who are not getting anywhere near as much buzz as Geese was in the lead up to their last record? They're about to drop a Lip Critic record, and the Lip Critic record, the singles sound very good. But why is there not as much deafening buzz around Lip Critic as there is Geese? Why is Partisan Records not being like, hey, you know what, you remember what you did with Geese, the whole just blowing them up out of nowhere thing? Could you do that with this band too and make them just as big? Also on top of that, like, again, and I said this recently in my video about the Geese hate, because let's put this in fucking perspective. I know that, and people keep saying geese are ubiquitous. The hype is ubiquitous. It's all ubiquitous. It only looks ubiquitous because you're going on your fucking phone. You're looking at your FYP. Your FYP is only showing things that are relevant to you in your fucking internet social circle, and you're being shown Geese over and over because all of your friends and people who are connected to the world that you're in are also listening to them. If you go on Spotify, Geese doesn't even have 2 million monthly listeners. They don't even have a fraction of the popularity and fandom of The Weeknd. They don't even have a fraction of the popularity of Charlie XCX, but it looks like you're seeing them a lot because in your FYP, they're popping up a lot. That doesn't mean they're everywhere. That doesn't mean everyone is seeing them. That doesn't mean they're popular all over the world, but people don't really understand that their FYP is not the world. They understand that like, well, this is how the world looks to me through my phone. Yeah, that's true, but that's not the fucking world. Like there are numerous people out there in the actual world, in the real world where you touch grass, who have no fucking clue who Geese is. And have no interest in what Geese is, which is why they're not being shown Geese. The downside to a PR company coming on a podcast like this and making these farcical claims and saying they can do this and promise that and blow anything up is, conspiracy brained industry plant dorks are going to see that and be like, oh my God. And of course, because they only listen to 5, 6, 7 artists, they're like, that's the whole music industry to me. So and this band popped out and I just learned about this band recently and maybe it's because they were forced upon me. And again, I can't show you this because, it's private information and I'm not trying to put anybody specifically on blast, but like I get hundreds and hundreds of emails every week from various PR people pushing this project, this album, that album, showing me this band just posted this TikTok, this band just posted this clip of this live video, this band just posted this, random interview section onto socials about this topic that they just talked about. This band just did an over-under with Pitchfork. This band just did this other sort of like live set at this big festival and this crazy thing happened. Like, these PR emails and bits of info are being like sort of thrown out into social media en masse every day, every week. And in 95% of those cases, I'll say 99% of those cases for artists who are not already established, that shit is not hitting. That shit is not hitting. And that's not to say that the artists doing that and the labels who are supporting them and the PR people who are trying to make it work are bad or doing a bad thing, or that they're not talented, or that they're not deserving of attention or support or, your time or money. Certainly I've reviewed a lot of artists and albums over the years that had virtually no buzz whatsoever. And I just talked about it because I thought the music was great. And that's the reason I decided to do that. I talked about Geese's 3D Country because I thought the album was great, not because they had any sort of buzz going on, because at that time they had very little buzz going on relative to where they're at now. But the thing is, just because you have a PR company pushing clips of you out on the internet, which all PR companies are doing right now. Are you kidding me? If you were a musician right now and you were about to give your album over to a PR company and you asked them, so how are you going to promote this? Are you going to post this on TikTok or anything? If they looked you straight in the face and said, oh, no, we actually don't want to put any of this on TikTok. That's the TikTok's behind the times. Or if they said to you, yeah, we think we'll just post just one clip on there, just one single 30-second clip and just see how it works. And then they asked you for they asked you or your label for $10,000. Would you not look at them and be like, well, fuck you. If you're going to charge me $5,000, $10,000, you better post more than one fucking clip of my album on the internet. What the fuck? Well, anyway, Partisan Records, the label behind both Getting Killed and Winter's solo debut, did not respond to a request for comment. It's an open secret in the music industry that all the numbers, play counts, followers, stats are fake, or at least obfuscated. Last year, a California-based rapper sued Spotify, alleging he and other musicians were losing money because of artificially inflated streams. The complaint cited Drake, who was not a defendant, claiming that his Spotify streams were inauthentic and appeared to be the work of a sprawling network of bot accounts, so on and so forth, for an industry that used to I imagine that's pay radio DJs. Pay radio DJs or ply. Okay, you could ply them. Okay, I get it. Ply radio DJs with steak dinners, backstage passes, and lines of blow in exchange for airtime. It's business as usual. Well, I mean, there was also payola going on legitimately too. And, also like what we just said, we have TikTokers getting paid $600 to dance to a clip on TikTok, because that's how TikTok literally fucking works. Nobody minds when major label pop stars do this sort of thing. It's expected, but bands who trade in hard-earned credibility can take a hit. As Darren Hemmings, author of the popular Industry Insider newsletter network, notes, and founder of the UK marketing strategy Motive Unknown, recently put in a post, reputational damage is the toughest thing to shake, and art being derided as fake, or the old classic and industry plant, I mean, even more classic than that is Poser, can see your credibility disappear at an alarming pace. I do think people have a needless purity about artists who aren't on major labels, or even artists who seem counterculture in any way, McLam says. This kind of marketing seems to be what it takes to cut through the algorithmic noise. No, I mean, exactly. I mean, the thing is, you kind of have to flood the zone these days and always be in front of people's faces if you want your music to hit. It's just a reality that we live with right now. No artist and no label and no musician asked for this. No singer-songwriter looked at the way that, music marketing was operating in like, let's say 2006, 2007. Not to say it was great or amazing back then. I mean, that was when you had mostly like a lot of online magazines and publications coming up. You had Pitchfork, basically sort of like on the run that it was on. And after that came the blog era. And as much as I was involved with that, kind of the downside of the blog era, and, no era of music promotion is squeaky clean or perfect. There was a lot of sort of like pay for play in terms of if you give us, these songs and these opportunities to post certain things first, you give us positive coverage, you give us positive attention. We use your platform to sort of spread the word about these artists, and we give you these sort of like exclusives and firsts that drive more traffic to your website and further enhance your brand and bring you more monetary opportunities and more advertisement revenue. Again, no artist looked at that state of things and said, you know what? Like, I feel like what this needs is just everybody having to post a million clips all the time. I feel like this would be so much better if everybody just had to post a million clips all the time in order to get people like listening to anything. I think that would actually fix this. I think that would make things better somehow. If everybody was forced, not clips, if everyone was forced to just post clips all the time and always be doing clips and clips and clips, that would make this so much better and so much easier. And that's how we would know the real art would win. Again, nobody asked for this. Nobody requested this. Nobody preferred this model. It's unfortunately like just the way that it currently works. And again, everything that I just showed you guys a moment ago in terms of like, TikTok, allowing people to pay other users to dance and lip sync to their songs for an algorithmic boost, so on and so forth. Like, what is that driving into the algorithm? And if you erased that from the whole sort of like, recipe of things on the internet, what is the algorithm pushing to you instead? Like, is it just going to be whatever the labels approve? I mean, it's not like TikTok and these social media apps aren't in bed with the three major labels that are out there in terms of like the interest in boosting their artists and making their artists appeal to people, or sort of like flooding comment sections with fake comments and so on and so forth. Have you guys never been on an Instagram post where, it's like from a major label artist or a popular artist or even an underground artist who's like, got way more likes on their post than they normally would, and you go in the comments and every single fucking comment is 3 fire emojis or like a trophy emoji or like 3 emojis where like the hands are up, or 3 emojis and it's just like the 100 emoji? Like, have you never seen those Instagram posts where it's just flooded with hundreds of those exact comments? And it's just fire, 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 fire. Yeah, exactly. Bunch of hearts, like 3 hearts. Like, it's nothing but, it's just thousands of comments and it's just 3 hearts, 3 hearts, 3 hearts, 3 hearts, fire, 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 fire. Like, nobody's actually saying shit. Chaotic Good stopped short of admitting it was using fake fan accounts or bots to drive buzz around Geese's getting killed and Winter's 2024 record Heavy Metal. The accounts driving the discourse are, in a sense, genuine, bespoke, engineered, and overseen directly by the in-house PR team working from their smartphones. Teresa insists that Chaotic Good teams don't ever use any strategies that involve the artificial inflation of streaming and or social media numbers. Geese has worked hard in building a real grassroots community to achieve all their recent success, Teresa says. We're protective and aware of the relationship between fan community and artist and want to aid that connection, not force it. We are vehemently opposed to bot farms, and our team solely consists of genuine music fans, so on and so forth. I mean, it's very much PR speak, but again, I will say, in context of this, consider that if this PR firm really had sort of like their hands on just sort of the nuts of the music industry, and we're like, everyone's going to like Geese, and because we fucking say so. Like, if I were Cameron Winter and I knew that was the case, and that's actually the power my PR firm had, okay, and the influence that my PR firm had, would he not, or I would, if I were him, because that is this hypothetical, I'd probably call him and be like, hey guys, listen, I love what you're doing. We're all over the place. We're really boosted in the algorithm. We're so boosted. People are talking about us all the time. We're even getting hit pieces written about us. Can we get more than 2 million monthly listeners? Can we get like 10? Can we get like 10? Can we get a billion stream? Can we get a platinum record? Like, can we get a plaque in here? I mean, like, the TikToks are great. Love the TikToks. TikToks are cool. Love that. Those are great. But can we get a platinum plaque? Can we get like a number one single? Can we get like a big record? Like, can we get 1 billion listeners, man? Can we get as many listeners as Drake? Because I mean, I feel like for all of this fanfare for just under 2 million listeners is insane. Like, to me, that does not speak like, oh man, the industry's just forcing them as honest man. Oh, we can't get away from, they're inescapable, you know? It's like they're literally a fucking indie rock band that had a mid-tier sort of like festival placement at Coachella. Like, can we chill the fuck out? Like, psyop, I understand that maybe it's hard that when you're on, TikTok, when you're on Instagram Reels, and maybe when you do 10 polls, you might see something Geese related, a meme, a live clip of something. I understand that might be hard, but believe me, it's not indicative of like the band taking over, or sort of like, a CIA level operation to sort of like dominate your taste or force you to like something that you don't. Because, if anything, and this is, I think, a comment that I wanted to address earlier with the 200 positive things to say about Geese if they can fabricate it, whatever, from the McLam sort of Substack. I still feel like, again, the sort of negative comments are really outweighing the positive comments. And at the end of the day, the negative comments in terms of how the internet currently works are not even inherently a bad thing. Because I as annoying as it is to see, and a lot of people say, oh, the Geese hate is forced. It does in a weird way sort of like help Geese in the same way a lot of the negative comments and hate helps artists like Drake. Because as much as people say and profess like, oh, I hate Drake, I'm a Drake hater, Drake's the worst artist of all time. Like, the Drake lovers and the Drake haters all pull up to listen to the new album. And the same is true for, people paying attention to and talking about Geese. The way the internet and social media works right now is like all engagement is gauged as good for the algorithm and boost worthy, whether it's somebody pulling up in the comments to be like, this is the best thing I've ever heard, love these guys, my favorite band, or people saying like, this sucks ass, I fucking hate this band, worst band of all time in the world. Yes, worst. I hate them, Garbo. All social media does is just sort of tracks that as like, yep, gonna send this to more people who are sort of like interlinked into this particular network of music listeners and media consumers, positive or negative. The idea of a PR firm creating dozens of social media accounts to push new music or artists may seem slightly sinister, in part because the very idea of an account arguably presumes some sort of independent consciousness is behind it. But is it really any different in essence than dozens of music blogs republishing the same press releases, pushing that same music and those same bands? These tactics follow a golden rule of so much online discourse, which another Chaotic Goods founding partner summed up in that Billboard interview: everything on the internet is fake. Which is a very cynical way of looking at it, but honestly, one of the realest ways you could look at it. The algorithm is fake. The algorithm is man-made and exists purely to drive profit. That is why the algorithm exists. The algorithm doesn't exist because some programmer and some coder decide to create it for you out of the goodness of their heart. Like, they're not like, oh, let me do a kindness to this stupid fuck who can't find things that he enjoys. And will just be a magical content machine that shows him things he'll love. There you go. All you need to do is just scroll. There it is. There's the magic. There's the magic formula for you, you stupid For her part, McLam says that these sorts of new extremely online marketing campaigns are no more or less nefarious than anything else that's been going on in the music business since the dawn of time. Asked if she would ever consent to these sorts of trend simulating marketing tactics, promoting her own music, McLam is unequivocal. I would absolutely take part in a narrative campaign or a UGC campaign. Well, there you fucking go. The person who wrote the Substack doesn't even give a fuck because, again, it's just an internet algorithm. And look, I would be more apt to cry wolf here if we were talking about a stage of the internet where everybody was just like, openly going to random websites and of their own volition and typing in the URLs to go check things out independently and, kind of deciding on their own whether or not they're going to go, check this out or check that out and so on and so forth. But like most of everyone's internet consumption right now is being fed through these algorithms and social media platforms, which are being dictated on high by multi-billion-dollar corporations that, again, are just locking you into these endless scrolls in order to sell you things or just get advertisements in front of your face. That's all that they are doing. So if some artist can find a way to sort of get themselves in the midst of all of that, go for it. Go for it. And a couple of final points here. If the Geese hype and the Geese love were just a complete psyop and completely fake, why is the band putting ass in seats in sold out shows and sold out tours? I mean, Lord knows we have seen countless artists over the past 5, 6, 7 years who have a lot of online internet hype, but they cancel tour after tour because they can't sell out a venue. Or a lot of people don't show up to the show because these people are essentially just internet mockeries and nobody actually wants to buy a fucking ticket to go see them in person. Or again, they do actually have botted streams and fake fans who are not going to pull up to a show. And then the second point that I want to make here is if Geese's fandom and hype is actually fake and completely pointless, why would this journalist and Wired see incentive to post this article putting Geese right there in the headline? Like, they know it's going to garner clicks because actual Geese fans and actual people interested in Geese are going to click on it. It's true. I bought all the seats because I'm that much of a fan. It's just me in the crowd going crazy. It actually sucks. I've seen Geese twice, but I both times that I saw them before Getting Killed. So I haven't even seen them on the Getting Killed tour. I almost saw them at that free show that they did. And this was before what a lot of people are calling the bot campaigns and everything. But that free show that they did in New York in the, middle of the day, I thought they were very good live both times that I saw them, though they were very jammy. They were very jammy. I don't know if they're playing it as jammy these days. Do you suspect a Geese downfall over this? No. I think we're having a lot of real conversations about how things are promoted in the internet age, but a downfall over this, I don't think the actual fans of Geese give a fuck, because the thing is, like, the impact that the band had on them with their music is going to matter to them more than whatever is said in this article. And even if you did happen to be a fan that came after Getting Killed and, you got looped in because a random TikTok account posted a live clip and it just happened to be the first time that you saw Geese anywhere and you just heard the song for the first time. Like, is that alone enough to sort of trick somebody into being a Geese fan? You actually have to like the music when it's put in front of your face. Like, all PR can do at the end of the day is like, put your content in front of people's eyes and faces and get it exposed. Like, it can't force people to like the music. Like, once people actually start hearing it, they have to actually fucking like it in order for there to actually be engagement past that point. All a PR company can do, even if they are posting hundreds of your clips to TikTok, is they can just expose your music to people and put it in front of people's faces. And, I don't know. Is it, I don't know if it's, maybe people self-reporting, complaining that that is such a bad and heinous thing. Is that like low key an admission that every single time somebody sees a new band they've never heard before on their feed, they just automatically like it? It's so terrible to think that a band would force themselves into that algorithmic chain of videos because every single time I see a new band randomly on my feed, I think it's great. When, personally, day in and day out, a lot of the bands and art, I mean, no specific shade to anybody, but most of the music that I hear any given week that's like new music is not that good, is not that good, or it's mid, or is just unimpressive in some way. So, I mean, the idea, and look, there are lots of bands and artists that I think randomly pop on my feed all the time that, it seems like, oh, maybe there's like a little bit of a campaign there, or, sometimes I go on TikTok and I see bands, sort of performance clips popping up And it's like an ad, they're like paying to have it pop up as an ad. And sometimes it's not that bad. Sometimes it's decent. Sometimes it's just kind of shitty. Just because it's popping up in front of my face doesn't mean I'm going to like it. And I don't know, I would like to have at least enough faith in your average person on the internet to think that just because someone is exposed to something through TikTok, that they're not just going to automatically think it's great. But okay, I think I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to harp on this any further. I'm done with this topic. I'm done.